Slurpty diddly do, my G's. Yes, my G's. This is going to be a great video. And today I'm going to talk about parallel processing on drums and on basses. But we're going to use a plugin which you might not expect you can use for parallel processing, which is excellent. And it's going to sound much better than your normal parallel compression or parallel distortion techniques that you might have heard of. So let's get into it. So here's a little demo. I've got a busy break, so just a busy drum break, and I've got a little bass line that I just recorded in from one of my presets on my Rituals preset pack called Final Temptation, okay? And so I've bounced that out, so I've got just a break and the bass line together, no processing. Here's how it sounds. And now here's how it sounds with the processing, the parallel processing on the break and on the bass. Am I a good dancer? Am I a professional salsa dancer? Sounds much better, doesn't it? And would you believe it? What we've used to do the parallel processing is the Spaceblender. And now, why the Spaceblender? Why is that better than doing compression? Why is it better than doing distortion? Well, the problem is when you do like parallel compression or parallel distortion, the new signal that you're creating and mixing in with the original, it's just not different enough. You haven't made it something new, you know? Whereas with the Spaceblender, you can completely make it into a new sound with different harmonics, right? So let's start with the break first, on its own. And let's take a look at our parallel layer. So again, obviously, I just copied to the channel. So we've got two versions of the break. And for the parallel layer, shout out to Princess Leia, what we're going to do is put on the Spaceblender. And I've already set it up perfectly here. You're basically going to have the time very short, sort of between 150, 250 milliseconds. And you're going to you're going to have the mix on 100%. And you're going to listen. You're going to listen with your original break here. And then you can move around this point here, for example. Play with the color. Obviously the time a little bit as well. So you can actually get different kind of results using that and different kind of ways to blend a new sound into the original. But what you can do once you're happy with it, you kind of want to feel like the new layer that you've added on sort of fits very naturally and blends with the original very, very naturally, you know? So once you've sort of found a natural setting, then it's just a case of mixing it down. So taking out a bit of low end, give a bit more power for the main drum signal, just a couple of smooth EQs, taking out some lows, and then actually using a stereo widener to narrow the sound a bit. Because the Spaceblender essentially is a reverb, you're convoluting everything, you know, massively in the stereo field. So with the width, you can, using the stereo plugin from Kilohertz, for example, it'll show you the width is almost kind of going into the red. It's almost too wide, you know, on this layer. But you can just narrow the sound again a bit. So you find a nice balance where you bring in a bit of that wide sound that you've created, bring it back to center a little bit, and blend it back in with the original, so it feels a bit tighter. This is especially useful for drums where you want it to be a really, really tight layer. But again, remember, because it's a new sound from the reverb convolution, it's better than having just compression or parallel distortion because you've got whole new harmonic content to mix in. So you can you're going to fill out you're gonna get much more fullness in your sound, you know. So again, a little bit more mixing down. This is where I've just done a bit of compression. Just knocks down the volume of it a bit, especially on the peaks, and then also a bit of transient shaping. Again, because it's like convolution reverb, even though we did it tight, it's still like got a fair bit of a tail on it now, so it kind of like opens up the drums quite a lot. So if you want to tighten it up a bit more, you can with the sustain. And that helps you to make it even more unnoticeable in a sense. So you just got this big drum group. And then you can mix down the volume a bit as well. So it sounds fat now, doesn't it? And that's basically your job done, you know? You can do the same then with the bass. With the parallel. Let's hear the bass on its own. With the para. This is quite a subtle one, and I've actually sort of really widened and warmed up the sound using the Spaceblender this time. If I turn it up a little bit, you can hear what the Spaceblender's doing if I solo this channel. Really, really nice and bassy. So it's more focused on the low end, but you know, sometimes it's nice to have a bit of a stereoed low end, you know, in the sort of 100 to 200 hertz area still. It can be quite nice, you know. So yeah, I've had the color quite low because the color controls the brightness, you know, and I just found like it sounded cooler when it was a bit darker when you blend it back with the original. Like having that like bright color wasn't really the vibe for me. I liked that lower, just kind of beefs up the low end of it all, you know, in the sort of stereo field. Yeah, and then obviously though I don't want all the low end, so I did EQ a bit out for the sub at least, sort of 72 hertz and around 110 here. So a little bit of space for the sub, but you've still got these harmonics. If I open it up on span, for example, you can see you still got these nice sort of harmonics down here. There's even a little bit still around sort of 80 hertz to 100. And then you've got a lot of nice content around 300 and 400 that helps add a lot of fullness to the bass. And we could, if we wanted to, do a little stereo check on this guy as well. Just see how wide it really is. And it's fairly wide. If we bring it back a little bit, it might sound even tighter in the mix now. So that's it. That's how easy it is to do some great parallel processing using the Spaceblender. Of course, you could use another different kind of convolution reverb or something. The great thing about the Spaceblender is that by toying with the exact time, the exact position at which you're kind of doing the blending, plus toying with the color and the texture, and even the mod a little bit, which sort of gives a bit of a variation into the or it seems to anyway. I think you maybe have to play around with some other settings here, but perhaps not. I think the mod just sort of gives it. Oh, from what I've noticed, it gives a bit of a natural kind of randomness to the sound. That's how I perceive it so far. But even without that, just playing with the texture, the color, and the exact position here, you can come up with many different versions of the parallel signal. And so you can really find a nice color. You're basically coloring the parallel channel in, you know, you're kind of like finding the right color, like as if you were on like a Dulux paint chart, you know, you sort of, but not that one. If you're on that digital one where it's like a circle and you can sort of just like go around the different colors of the world, you basically keep finding the exact shade that you want, you know, by tweaking around the color and the texture and the position here. And then once you've got the perfect color that fits the original, then it's like, bam, go time, baby. And you can do that on both your drum group and your bass group. And you can do it on other groups as well if you want, or individual channels. Doesn't really matter. We'll do it on everything. But for parallel processing on like your whole drums, it's great. And on your whole bass, it's great. So go for it, my G's. Spaceblend it up. Use that for parallel processing. Watch your track get bigger and better with new harmonics. And something much more interesting than just slapping a parallel New York compression on a send. You know, you won't get anywhere near as interesting as a result as if you do it this way. So that's it for today. Leave a comment down below if you tried this out, if it helped you out. Let us know, like the video, and make sure you subscribe as well if you haven't. Around half of you are not subscribed that are currently watching, so I'm watching you. I'll quickly remind you as well before I leave, if you want any production lessons, I offer one-on-one classes. You can book in lessons via the links down below. You can email me if you need any mixing and mastering work done for your latest release. You'll get much better results with me than you would with an AI. And if you would like to support me another way, head over to Patreon and join our Discord where there's lively chats and people giving feedback on each other's tracks, and I do feedback live streams, and it's so much good fun. And yes, the sound you heard here, the bass sound, was from my Serum Rituals pack, but I've got 3 Serum 2 packs on my website in total, plus about 1,000 Vital and Phase Plant packs, and 1 current pack. So check some presets out on my website as well if you need some new sounds for your next project. All right, thank you very much for listening. That's it from me today. More from me very soon. Ciao for now.